Eric had always said Grace was like poetry, beautiful, mysterious, and full of secrets. He just didn't know how dark those secrets ran. They had met at a bookstore, where Grace had handed him a copy of Pride and Prejudice and quipped, "Every guy should know what women want, at least on paper." Her charm was magnetic, her laughter like sunlight, and Eric was hooked from the first smile. 3 years later, their love story seemed perfect, until the night Grace vanished. Eric was halfway through a late-night work project when his phone buzzed. It was a voicemail from Grace. "Eric," her voice was trembling, barely a whisper. "I'm being followed. Please, help me." The call cut off, leaving Eric gripping the phone with icy hands. His first instinct was panic, but panic soon turned into determination. He called her phone repeatedly, but there was no answer. Her friends, her colleagues, even her parents, no one had heard from her. It was as though she had been swallowed by the night. The next few days were a blur of police reports, candlelit vigils, and sleepless nights. Eric refused to give up, his love for Grace fueling his relentless search. Her name trended on social media, and every time a lead surfaced, his hope reignited, only to be extinguished again. But a week later, Eric stumbled upon something that shattered the fragile hope he clung to. Scrolling through a Twitter thread about unexplained sightings, he froze at a photo someone had taken in a marketplace miles away. There, in the background, was Grace, her unmistakable red curls glowing in the sun, her lips curled in a laugh. And her hand? It was interlocked with another man's. Eric's heart clenched. Rage, confusion, betrayal, all of it boiled inside him as he packed his bag and drove through the night, chasing the truth he never wanted to find. When he arrived at the address attached to the photo, it was a modest villa tucked behind a grove of bougainvillea. He banged on the door with the force of a man who'd lost everything. Grace opened it. The moment their eyes met, she faltered. "Eric, you're here." "Don't you dare," Eric growled, his voice breaking. "Don't you dare act like this is normal." Before she could respond, the man from the photo appeared behind her. Broad shoulders, clean-shaven, and a look that oozed authority. He slid his arm protectively around Grace. "Who the hell is this?" Eric demanded, pointing at the stranger. "I'm Michael," the man said, his tone calm. "Grace's husband." Eric stumbled back as though the words had punched him. "Her what?" "Eric, I can explain." Grace started, tears pooling in her eyes, but her words sounded hollow, rehearsed. Michael raised a hand, silencing her. His gaze stayed on Eric. "She didn't want to hurt you. But I found out about the two of you, and things escalated." "Escalated?" Eric's laugh was bitter. "She faked her own abduction. Do you have any idea what she's put me through?" "She panicked," Michael said, his face unreadable. "She thought running would solve things. But the truth always comes out." Grace stepped forward, her tears now spilling freely. "Eric, I didn't mean for this to happen. I didn't mean to hurt you." Stop." Eric's voice was sharp. His heart was in pieces, but he wouldn't let her twist the knife any further. "You made me believe you loved me. You made me believe you were mine." "I did love you," she whispered. "I still do." Eric shook his head. "No, Grace. You don't know what love is. You only know how to destroy it." Without another word, he turned and walked away, his footsteps heavy but resolute. As he drove home, the villa and its lies fading in his rearview mirror, Eric let himself feel it all: anger, sadness, relief. Grace's betrayal was a storm, but storms pass. And when they do, the skies are clearer than ever. For the first time, Eric realized Grace wasn't poetry. She was a riddle, one he didn't need to solve anymore. Somewhere out there was someone who would love him without pretense, and he'd find her. One day, He would look back on this and laugh. But not today. Today, he let the weight of heartbreak sharpen his resolve.